The IORA Cup Series brings intermediate racing back into the fold for the second week in a row. Tonight, we're back in the Queen City. It's a return to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Last season and the season before, we went to this venue in the middle portion of the campaign, and now that the championship race is in full swing, it's the perfect time to head back to North Carolina for one of the cathedrals of intermediate speed. Welcome to the IORA Cup Series, Race 6 of Season 6, live on FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing all the way. Championship battle is slowly but surely heating up. Daniel Mosteller pulling away in the points. However, it was Jim Thurston who was able to come away with his second win in this season, just based off last week. So now we have two dominant drivers going at each other in the points. Daniel Mosteller has not slipped up once. He's found himself to the podium in every race to this point. And so now, Braxton Whitaker, Hunter Bogdan, the first drivers to set times. Now the rest of the field going to be going in single car qualifying here at the mile-and-a-half track. Andres Varas, the rookie's the next man on the way. As we take a look at drivers and the intervals right now, it'll be the number 82 of Varas coming across the stripe. And it looks like his lap time will be good for provisionally second place. So Andres going to be now just a second behind Braxton Whitaker on the provisional pole. Up next is going to be Beaver Serrano in the number 66. Beaver ran strong last week and able to come away with a top 10 finish, hoping perhaps to go for his second consecutive of that order, of course. Top 10 or better, that's the goal for the 66 team. Coming into turns 3 and 4 with a load of momentum. His last lap that he recorded on track was 1 minute and 7 seconds long. However, that was his speed and timing coming off of pit road. This lap, twice as fast. It's going to be a 31.22. Good enough now for provisionally second. Still, the advantage going to Braxton Whitaker. Jacob Wilkerson, the number 43, is now going to be on the way. One of the strongest intermediate drivers in this series. He's once again returning victories this season in SNT, as well as top 5 performances in IORA very recently. Wilkerson is one to watch out for, and with multiple PBR drivers alongside him tonight, he will not be alone. Jacob right now is going to be at 185 miles an hour before going into turns 3 and 4, and it looks like he's carrying a heap of momentum. This lap should be good enough to, provisionally anyway, put him up to the top of the board. And as he comes across the start-finish line, that indeed seems to be the case. Jacob Wilkerson with a quick time now of 31.226 for Serrano. It was a 30.842 for Braxton Whitaker. 30.378 for Wilkerson, significantly quicker than both of which Michael Deitch is on the way. That's the difference, of course, between the best drivers and those who get down to the track first. Usually, we see the quicker drivers later. In this instance, Jacob Wilkerson not able to get that early practice time seated in, and so he's going to go rather early when all his competitors who might be battling for the win have a little bit more time to prepare. Up next is Michael Deitch in the number 17. Michael only getting one lap here, and he puts in a 30.7 serviceable lap time, and it's going to be good now for the second place as Jason Sametto gets on the way. That's the rookie in the number 12, now looking to get himself going. Pink number 12 for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the first pink paint scheme of the month here on FTN. And it looks like for the number 12, well, he's looking to bring his short track pace to a bigger circuit. Sametto shining when it came down to Bristol with a top 5 qualifying result and putting together top 10 pace on the day. Rookie stripes, but a driver who might have some veteran pace to look out for as the season progresses here. Jason gonna get on the move, and as he comes across that start-finish line, the driver, the number 12, Sametto, 30.823. That's gonna be good for third on the timing sheet. Up next is Sean Rowe. And we mentioned PBR, multiple drivers. Here comes their second of which. Sean, his best finish so far this season, coming at Daytona, just a few hundredths of a second away from victory in that circuit. The World Center of Racing, he treated him kindly, but just not kind enough to find victory. Unfortunately for him, Daniel Mosteller, having the advantage all day long, just took him to the line and beat him by some 41 thousandths of a second. Since that point, Rowe has been close. He's gotten himself some top 5s and, of course, Top 10 finishes galore, but not yet a winning threat. We'll see whether or not tonight can be a bit of a difference as Sean makes his way out for his one and only lap. Yahir Rodriguez looks to be on deck, and he's already on the circuit taking his warm-up lap. Notables that are still due to come: Daniel Mosteller, Mike Mitchum, River Page, and more than on back. Now we talk about Jim Thurston. He got the advantage over Daniel Mosteller last week. Mike Mitchum was the overall race winner in a green-white checkered finish in which the old tire was just barely able to hang on. Rowe at the line, going to go up into P3, 30.8. Looks like right now Wilkerson has broken through significantly quicker compared to most other drivers. See whether or not here Rodriguez is able to break that streak, so to speak. And now it's going to be making it down the back straight, the number 16 team. Yahir Rodriguez in his Chevy Camaro. We've seen him twice so far in this campaign. A rookie who made his debut in Daytona. One of the new drivers getting a chance now to put himself back up in front. As Rodriguez comes across the line, he's going to join up many of the drivers who got into the 30 bracket, and this time around Rodriguez significantly quicker. That's going to be good for second place, and so Rodriguez up to P2, a 10th and a half back on the provisional pole time as Vincent Guecci now gets on the move himself. Guecci's number 88 has been strong at the intermediates before. We saw him last season particularly coming into his stride at tracks such as Charlotte and Old Atlanta, and now we're back in the World Center of Racing. A little bit of a bobble there going to turns 3 and 4, but Vincent should be all right for a sub 31-second lap at the very minimum, and that he is. 30.714, but that mistake is going to cost him any higher spot in the lineup. Here comes Henry Kaloff, and the number 63 gets on the way. Usual red for the 63 team has been once again replaced. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so it's going to be the pink number 63 taken to the track for the first time this year. As Henry Kaloff makes his way down, it's going to be Kaloff Deitch Racing, the new team on the market. Henry Kaloff Racing adding Michael Deitch into the owner's fray, as Deitch has become an increasingly significant part of that team's recent success. So, the two drivers that we've mentioned many a time before going with each other, currently they both find themselves provisionally in the top 5. Henry Kaloff grabs the pole position provisionally by 62 one-thousandths of a second. Up next is Chase Schaefer, a man who has won at this circuit before and the best driver by and large at the intermediates last year. Not only have we called him the king of Atlanta, but he is one of the kings of mile and a halves on this platform. Chase Schaefer getting moving now, and he's looking to back up that title, so to speak, from season 5. Let's see now what Chase can do. Most often we've seen Chase Schaefer come on strong late in mile and a half races, and he's looking, of course, to bring that power back toward the tail end, but to start strong can also get you out of trouble. 30.324 will be good for second, right behind Henry Kaloff. So Henry puts up a notable lap, the 99, as Schaefer can't quite compare. And here comes River Page as a result. River in the number 24 is now going to occupy the track, the one and only driver to do so. The defending champion here in the IORA Cup Series is looking to get this title defense back in a full swing. Going to be a different look for River, not just going to be all metallic blue and black, but you can see red to orange as the base paint tonight, and a striking yellow number 24. And looking to strike to the top of the charts. It'll be another good lap, but just not good enough. 4th place for River Page puts him inside the top 5, but he might get knocked out in the way immediately by the number 38, who has come on strong and quick. Mike Mitchum gets on the way, and here comes Mitchum tonight, not for race EPI, but it looks like the party animal Chevrolet trying to go for back-to-back victories in his first 2 starts. You might remember last year we had a few ringers come around and collect some victories. Most notably, Ashton Crowder was a man who came through, got himself an initial win in his very first start. Let's see what Mike Mitchum can do now, trying to back up not only his victory, but his pole position from last week. This time will be quick enough to grab the pole from Henry Kaloff. And the advantage between Kaloff and Mitchum, 19 thousandths in the favor of the number 38. So here comes your points leader, Daniel Mosteller, and the 87's on the way. Mosteller really doesn't need much a rebound race tonight, but I think he's already looking for a chance to sneak into victory lane once again. Win number 3 has eluded him as of late, already getting those first 2 victories, and by and large, he's been the best driver this season. Even in the races he has not won, he's been very successful. His only one down race would be Atlanta. Alexander Balderas coming away with the victory in a massive wreck at the end of the night. Daniel Mosteller grabs the pole for 1/1000th of a second. That's the advantage. Up next, Aiden Walker with Jacques Carter, Jim Thurston, and it looks like potentially Nathan Palawada, the only drivers remaining to set a time. So Walker now trying to put a time down, another pink machine tonight. The number 93 gonna flip the color from green to pink. And for Aiden, currently speaking, he's got himself a good lap going. This one should be good to lock up inside the top 10. Depending on how he comes out of 4 here, looks like no bobble, might be good for 6th or 7th. And now for Walker, as his time goes up the pylon, that number 93 goes into 8th, just behind the 7th place driver in Rodriguez. And so Aiden Walker missing the mark, but only just. Jim Thurston, multiple times this year, has been able to put it on the pole position in the final attempt in qualifying. 96 machine looks like he will be the penultimate driver to go out tonight, but the only driver to follow him will be his Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport teammate in Nathan Palawada. Let's see now if Thurston can shock the field as he comes down low through turns 3 and 4. Looks like he's got a certain amount of grip there that he's confident in using. Goes almost down to the paint line before coming up. Now checkered flag falls on Thurston's qualifying run. It's a solid lap, but it's only going to do him good for 5th. Nathan Palawada coming off a career best finish of P4 last week, now on the way for the final time. In total, 18 drivers will take a lap out of the 23 that have registered here tonight, so a majority of the field getting down onto the circuit. Alexander Balderas looks like he went for an attempt. However, officially speaking, he will not get a verified lap in. He went for 2 laps according to iRacing timing and scoring, and so the field will move on for the number 95 as a result. For Nathan Palawada, this time will be another one that is solid. It's going to match his teammate in Thurston, and it looks like it will best it. It's going to be Nathan Palawada up to P5 and getting ahead of his former champion teammate in Jim Thurston. Nevertheless, checkered flag will fall on the session, and the 87 of Daniel Mosteller, championship leader, most dominant driver this season, once again finds the pole position. And Daniel Mosteller, the likes of which his dominance this season only being matched previously by Sean Conklin. In all honesty, the big question becomes whether or not Mosteller can just keep finding the wins. He's had good races where he hasn't come away with the victory, notably a top 3 finish last week and a 2nd place at Bristol, where the victory eluded him, but only just. Nevertheless, he will start up in front of the starting grid tonight, and let's get to know your starting grid here for the Queen City 150, one of our shorter intermediate races in which the number 87 of Daniel Mosteller collects the pole position, and with them it will be Mike Mitchum in 2nd. Mike returning to the starting grid tonight, and he will be P2 in the 30.297 time slot. He is only 4,000ths back on the top spot. Then you got Henry Kaloff in 3rd and Chase Schaefer in 4th, with Nathan Palawada P5 and Jim Thurston in 6th. All Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport running in the 3rd row. Jacob Wilkerson will be in the 4th position, and it'll be, of course, 4th row. He'll be on the inside of which with River Page overall in 8th. And then the rookie in Yahir Rodriguez will be 9th place, and Aiden Walker will be just behind with a 30.646. Then we go down to the 11th position, in which you'll see Vincent Guecci. Michael Deitch will be 12th, and it'll be Sean Rowe in P13. Jason Semedo's 14th, with Braxton Whitaker 15th, and Beaver Serrano in the 16th position. P18 is going to be then from there just behind, and Hunter Bogdan with a 33.333 time. Andres Faras is 17th. 16th, and it's the number 82, a rookie at the tail end of the field, looking to maybe channel some of the energy from Daytona. Not the best of qualifying runs. We'll see if he makes it up the pylon as the night progresses. Alexander Balderas will be starting in 19th, and Josh Kenyon will be in 20th, with the final drivers on the field going as follows. 21st will be Brendan Dugan, registering tonight. It'll be Ryan Billy in his very first start in IORA competition. 22nd, and Jacques Carter, triple-digit threat in the 006, will be starting in 23rd and last on the starting grid. The Queen City 150 stacked with talent once again as we're getting set to go racing here in Charlotte. Track conditions tonight will go as follows. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the mile-and-a-half circuit here in Concord, North Carolina. No stranger to getting warm, but tonight will be relatively mild. 84 degrees, track temperature will be 95, and a relative humidity of only 21% means that drivers shouldn't concern themselves all too much with abnormal tire wear. It's a high-speed circuit, but we don't have a lot of time on track tonight. Only 100 laps. Two-stop strategy might be viable, but expect some drivers to try to go 40-plus laps on their respective stints if they want to come out with the advantage and win in this event. 150 miles, 100 laps. Very similar to the race lengths in Season 4 and 5, rather than what we've seen as the norm so far in this campaign. Maybe a driver like Daniel Mosteller will benefit from having these shorter runs. Mike Mitchum looking for 2 consecutive victories to open up his IORA career, and it is time to go racing once again. Green flags out here in Charlotte. Welcome back to America's home for racing. Daniel Mosteller leads the field. Caution is out in the back of the field. Yellow flag. It's Hunter Bogdan who looks to have gone down alone. Yellow flag's out. Let's take a look at what in particular caused it. It's Bogdan slides. Let's see if anyone else did. So Hunter here at the tail end of the pack looked to be alone to the number 86, although just ahead of him a few of the rookies, including Andres Varas. Bogdan hooked up the track with Varas. The 91 of Aaron Schugel slides, and it looks like, well, there's Varas, there's Bogdan, and Aaron Schugel. He's going to eventually just get away from it. And here goes, well, Carter. Tonight, Carter's going to be in the 91 as a matter of fact, so Aaron Schugel not with us, but instead the triple-digit threat, and so already some damage on the right side. Back of the field, that was the battle for about 20th place, and it brings out the caution for the first time tonight. Lap 3 here out of 100, Hunter Bogdan limping to pit road. Daniel Mosteller is your leader, and the field up and ahead got away quite cleanly. Henry Kaloff looked to have a little bit of trouble. He falls back down to 16th. However, he was able to save himself and, of course, put that car back to rest before the yellow flag flew. Drivers are working with one faster pair tonight, so even if they do end up making a mistake, it is not the end of their day. Pit road, busy for the back half of the field. However, the front runners, with no incentive to go down and in, decide to stay out. Daniel Mosteller still holds the advantage over Mike Mitchum, and you'll notice Aiden Walker getting up into the 6th spot, Vincent Guecci 7th, Jacob Wilkerson dropping down to 8th. It's a very contentious top 10. Some of the best drivers on the platform up at the head of the field. And the first 10 drivers stacked and stout with talent. You'll see Jacob Wilkerson, Sean Rowe, PBR guys. Then you got Vincent Guecci, who tonight will be running on his own. He's been as quick as ever as of late. You got Aiden Walker. Then you got River Page from Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport and Jim Thurston. Chase Schaefer, Mike Mitchum for EPI, and Daniel Mosteller, who is your all-time most successful driver in this field. No question that, as we've seen as of late, the IORA talent pool has only increased in terms of skill. And this might be one of those nights where it's a real challenge to see who's got the clear-cut advantage, because every driver has a claim to their own chance at victory lane. Heading down to the start-finish line, it'll be Daniel Mosteller now with a choice to go high or low. And it looks like for Mosteller signaling already to the bottom side, and here goes Demos, taking it to the floor of the circuit, all the way down under the line for the apron. Daniel Mosteller will take with them Jim Thurston and then River Page, Vincent Guecci. Further on back, you'll also see Sean Rowe decides to make the move. Mike Mitchum is going to take it up top here and look for track position. You might remember Mitchum able to use the high side to his advantage throughout all of last event. The high side was the preferred groove last week, as a matter of fact. Tonight, though, I have a feeling the inside will come back into play. Charlotte is perhaps the most textbook intermediate that we have on the circuit, while Kansas was giving a lot of room for these drivers to sort of experiment on the jump. The inside is preferential, not as wide a circuit, and being tighter and narrower means you really want to cut distance when you can. There's no real advantage in hanging yourself out there, and for most of these drivers, I think they understand now the low side is exactly where you want to be. Mike Mitchum, though, has the speed to take that risk, and with them, Chase Schaefer will come. Let's see how the high side heroes decide to go about it here, as they're going to go toe-to-toe with your pole sitter in Demos. Lap 6 out of 100, 95 laps to go. We go green. It'll be Mosteller and Mitchum once again bringing us there. 2 laps down, Hunter Bogdan and Aaron, or rather, Andres Varas, respectively. Here we go again, and it's going to be Daniel Mosteller with a chance to lead the field of green here in lap 6. Let's go racing once more. Green flags out. Brendan Dugan just joined the track, and he'll only end up 5 down as we go racing again. Varas the lapper on his way, and Daniel Mosteller cutting through with the advantage. Mike Mitchum on the inside line. The gamble so far paying off just to hold on, but real no advantage here when it comes to passing. Number 96 of Jim Thurston already on the move. Chase Schaefer's tried to come with, but now you'll see Mike Mitchum is actually going to use the high side to his advantage. When we were stacked up and all together, didn't really give him all too much, but now rounding the top side on his own, looks like Mitchum's got himself in a nice place to track down Daniel Mosteller at long last. Jacob Wilkerson going to be coming through here with the number 88 of Vincent Guecci. Contact, and it's going to be slight, but that's going to send Wilkerson down the circuit. He's going to be able to keep it together, and Aiden Walker's now going to just move ahead. Number 16 is going to be watching, and Yahir Rodriguez. We'll see what the Rodriguez machine decides to do here as he gets close into the battle. Now it looks like it's going to be single file for the entirety of the field, except for Henry Kaloff. The number 16 machine, that's where he is in position now. Kaloff, he's coming up on Braxton Whitaker and going to try to make a pass to enter the top 15 very soon. Of course, for Kaloff, he decided not to go down to pit road after his first lap struggles. His tires might be a little bit scuffed, and we'll see whether or not he's got a disadvantage when it turns down to the rubber later on in the run. Maybe for Kaloff, it's going to be a little bit more challenging on this run than it will be the next to make up time. Kaloff holding the provisional pole about halfway into the session and eventually coming away with a top 10 qualifying position. Maybe there's time for him to continue making up those spots and entering the top 10 in that process. 19 drivers on the lead lap, going back to the triple-digit 006 of Carter, and you'll see Michael Deitch now working the high groove. Although it looks like for Deitch, not much of an advantage when it comes to momentum. It's a complete opposite up and ahead, where Mike Mitchum has repeatedly tried to go up a little bit higher. Right now, though, it looks like he'll concede and follow directly with Daniel Mosteller. Demos having the lead up and ahead is going to have to work the hardest here. He's got clean air, but he's pushing himself with no draft. All the while, Mike Mitchum is right there there, and he might be looking for a move. 11 laps in out of 100 now, and we're getting into the middle stages slowly but surely. Pit road may be influenced by that first pit stop for some drivers who are laps back, and also might be influenced by the fact we had a few laps a little bit slower. Maybe the window now expanding from exactly 40 laps to 42 to 43, although we are still not sure whether or not drivers can try and go all the way. It looks like it will be a significant risk, and you still might expect to see the two-stop strategy as the prominent decision. For our 120 laps races, the 40-40 method has become the no-doubter, going for 2 pit stops, and overall going down pit road every 40 laps has allowed for drivers to really easily understand how they should work with strategy. Never do you have to consider the remainder of extra laps, because if you go down every 40 laps, it's going to be a perfect third of the race again and again and again. Tonight, not so much. If you want to go for perfect thirds, you'll come in on laps 34 and 67 respectively, but that's not a lot of wiggle room when it comes to going down and in multiple times, and maybe try to stretch it further. If you try to stretch for the full 50, it's highly unlikely you'll get there unless you get the perfect breaks with yellow flags and things of that nature. Honestly, a 50-lap run looks to be incredibly unlikely for these drivers, and it's going to work against them, of course, if we have green flag laps. It'll make time fly quicker, but it's also going to mean pit road will become a very convoluted process. If you're not keeping up with your numbers and tires and fuel, then you won't quite understanding what exactly you have to do and when. Up the track, Chase Schaefer and Jim Thurston, they'll save it, but oh, that could have been a massive left hook, right hook up the circuit for both drivers. That could have been cataclysmic. Going to cost them quite a lot of time, nevertheless. Now Chase Schaefer trying to get back on the move. Jim Thurston still going to be in 7th, and to think that almost looked like it will be fatal contact from the moment they locked fenders. Luckily for Thurston and Schaefer alike, they're able to pull out of it, and for Schaefer, now he's already up inside the top 10 again. For Thurston, he's still within it, and Sean Rowe, the next man to face trouble. Sean going to shoot up to the high side of the track, and now he will drop right by Schaefer. Here comes the number 95. That's going to be Alexander Balderas looking low. All of a sudden, Sean Rowe with some right side scuffing himself, and he's getting rather close to almost replicating that incident that we saw between Schaefer and Thurston. Luckily, everyone keeps it in one piece, and 2 great contenders not going to lose out on an opportunity early on. Could have brought us back to a standstill and another caution. Slide job here for the 19. Sean Rowe going to let Alexander Balderas dive deep, only to ride up top. Andres Varas going to be much further behind, but you'll see a few of the pink machines coming up. Here come both Nathan Palawada and the number 12. That's going to be Jason Sametto, a rookie and a veteran, going at it now side by side. Both drivers pretty in pink tonight as Breast Cancer Awareness Month has begun. Not only live on FTN, but beyond. Now, many a time we see drivers in the Highline Racing League come through with pink seasonal paint schemes. You might remember particularly Alan Kunman, the number 8, one of the many that turn up in all pink throughout the month. Looks like here in the IORA Cup Series, the most that we've seen in pink all throughout this league's history. Multiple drivers today going to be showing their colors tonight and standing against breast cancer, and great to see on the track. Of course, a lot of these drivers, well, of course, every driver outside of the racing world has their own life, and many of which seem family members and relatives and those dear to them affected by this unfortunate illness. Nevertheless, great to, of course, have this awareness on circuit tonight and for the entirety of October here on FTN. And right now, 2 of those pink drivers are going to be battling each other. Jason Sametto, Nathan Palawada, positions 12 and 13. Advantage right now is clearly going to be with Palawada. Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport, not without incident early on, and while they've fallen out of their early positions, it's still a solid day right now for Nathan, and definitely both Chase Schaefer and Jim Thurston doing a good job of recovering. Because if you look at them right now, they're going to be battling each other once again. It looks like Chase Schaefer has been able to catch up to Jim Thurston, and he might look down low once more. Here comes the number 99. Very similar position here. You do not want to replicate that contact, though. It's going to look bad for the both of them, and in all honesty, it'll only be a nuisance for all those around. Don't think you're going to see any intentional contact here. These two have raced each other for several years. However, tonight, of course, you're starting to see differences in the package maybe come into play. Last season we went here, it was a completely different iRacing package with the Xfinity cars, and we've seen significant differences in the short tracks compared to then and now. Maybe the intermediates impacted at least somewhat as the number 99 dives low again. He has room, and there's no choice right now but for that Jim Thurston machine to give it to him. Side by side, the number 99 and 96 respectively. And even still, they'll stay fighting. An impressive battle now, even though these drivers were previously at each other's throats. Looks like they've simmered down, and now they're the only side-by-side fight on the circuit. It's interesting to see that even in the intermediates, drivers now in the IORA Cup Series have ample incentive in staying calm. That's something that has become increasingly apparent as the seasons have gone on. Great green flag racing, great clean racing. We saw it in Kansas as well. That's something that I think is going to continue to develop as these drivers gain experience and maturity. This is a group that have known each other for a long while, but now they've been league racing with each other week in and week out for even longer. Years of experience have gotten us to this point. You might remember that the IORA Cup Series has been going to these tracks since its first season. And while IORA Cup Series Season 1 was a lot of the times one or two drivers at the very most, Daniel Mosteller's first ever IORA wins came on empty tracks. Now with 20 to 30 drivers week in, week out, and better drivers as a matter of fact, it's very challenging to maintain pace. Some drivers, of course, are hoping for a bailout with a caution, but not often does that occur when these drivers are in their rhythm. Right now, Alexander Balderas out of rhythm. He's going to slide out of turn 2. And with them, Nathan Palawano is going to get contact from Sean Rowe into Balderas. 1, 2, 3, chain reaction. They're 3 wide out of 4. They'll keep it together, but Balderas is the big loser. He'll block Beaver Serrano, and he'll lose even more. Oh, the plight of Alexander Balderas continues. He'll be shot down 3 positions at once. Another great save by the field, but that comes a lot of it in part due to the mercy of Alexander Balderas. He could have kamikazed them all there and just taken them up the track. He's going to let off, and unfortunately for his race, that's going to put him down at a 13th. Not where he wants to go in the backward direction. Nevertheless, he's going to have to settle and suffer. Beaver Serrano going to drop down to the bottom groove, and even though he got close to passing Balderas, it looks like now Alexander putting up a pretty good fight to keep him at bay. The Fastenal number 66 has occupied the bottom groove for some 2.5 laps now, and trying to get back up there with Cemento and the Pretty in Pink drivers of the 78 and 12 hasn't been easy. Balderas does not want to lose anything more. To fall down to 14th for him will be very much an awful way to go. A lot of the times we've commended Alexander Balderas from working from the back up. Tonight he started in 19th and got to as high as 10th, but now he only finds himself up +6. You might remember he won from Atlanta starting in the 25th position, so he's no stranger to making a bad start into a good race, but right now it looks like that bad start has really cut him short. Maybe a chance to, of course, progress and take advantage of what's due to come in the next laps, but right now, Balderas not doing too well and once again loose out of turn 4. And there goes Beaver Serrano. Balderas is now going to be officially in the 14th spot. Up in the front of the field, you'll see single file and still tight. Chase Schaefer has been able to get by Jim Thurston and leaving him in the dust. You'll see that number 96. He is in 7th. And then you got 8th and Yahir Rodriguez, the rookie we haven't spoke all too much of, coming up on the 96 and maybe going to try to go at him. For Rodriguez, he's gotten up from the 5th row to what would be the 4th row. as it stands, Yahir Rodriguez is going to be getting up to that second groove and quicker, closer and closer each and every time we've seen him. Rodriguez making his debut in the start of Season 6, and hopefully we see him a little bit more often in the seasons to come. He's running solidly so far and definitely has the pace to keep up, if not the pace to pass. Up at the front of the field now, we might see a battle for a pass. Now River Page and Daniel Mosteller are going at each other toe-to-toe. 87 of Demos, he's up there in the first spot. Then you got River Page. It is, of course, the 24, now P2. Aiden Walker is going to be coming up on Michael Mitchum, and this looks rather familiar to how eventually Mike Mitchum got up to the race win in Kansas. You might remember he laid back significantly in the first 50-some laps of the race. Didn't even find himself in the podium at some points. He was letting drivers like Page and Daniel Mosteller go at each other side by side, and now the number 87 is going to come through down the back straightaway with the advantage. River Page to the inside, and the 24 goes low again. Just slightly the advantage still in Daniel Mosteller's hands here. 31 laps in out of 100, and if our estimates are correct, pit window will be opening up in as few as 2 laps here. Up high, number 87 is still going to try to pull it down the back straight. Contact once, twice in the wall. River Page and Daniel Mosteller. They'll collect Aiden Walker. Wilkerson, Thurston, yellow flag is out. Huge wreck. And it's a smoke show at the front of the field. Caution's out, and your leaders make contact, and we are due to go now to pit road for the first time tonight. Caution is out. Let's take a look back. There's too little room for Mosteller to use on the high side. They ended up beating and banging each other all the way until contact became too much. River Page up in the wall. You'll see there Mike Mitchum dives low, takes Chase Schaefer with them. Then Jacob Wilkerson hits the already hit Aiden Walker. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes 5 when Jim Thurston's hood pops violently. Yahir Rodriguez gets away. Moreover, you see here's Jason Cimento, Beaver Serrano, Sean Rowe getting through. It looks like 5 drivers collected in that incident, all of which at the front of the field. Yellow flag out for the opening laps of this race. We got ourselves a 30-lap stint. Mosteller still puttering, and you can see that number 87 is shaking. He tries to get to pit road here. It looks like the left front is, technically speaking, off the track, and looks like completely disconnected from the suspension. Pile driving in one another as Henry Kaloff decides to stay out on track. He'll be the one and only from the lead lap to do just that. Now, watching our pit road exit camera, let's see who makes it out first. Anticipating to see Mike Mitchum as your winner off of pit road here based on his wreck avoidance. And it looks like now as the number 38 gets on the way, Mike Mitchum at advantage over Yahir Rodriguez, Vincent Guecci, Chase Schaefer, Beaver Serrano, Jason Cimento, Ryan Billy, Nathan Palawada, Alexander Balderas, and lastly, Aiden Walker is the 10th man off of pit road. He'll be scored, tentatively speaking, in P11. Daniel Mosteller, no longer your race leader. Instead, it'll be the number 63 up and ahead. That's Henry Kaloff. And now, looks like it's going to be Kaloff Deitch Racing, the leading team. Michael Deitch coming off of pit road 11th overall. He will be scored now in the 12th spot. Drivers coming together again for what will be restart number 2. Henry Kaloff down on the apron and maybe saving a little bit of fuel, or he'll decide to go in this time by. Looks like for Kaloff's sake, the difference is clear. Tires and fuel. Henry right now in a 33-lap stint, and for him, no choice but to come down and in here. Perhaps going to try to stretch longer in case we go green the rest of the way. 1 lap, it could make a difference. So for Henry Kaloff, maybe going for that full stretch opportunity. We'll see whether or not that is the right choice to make, or if it even ends up making an impact. If we have another caution within the next 25, 30 laps or so, then Kaloff, his pit strategy will not mean all too much. However, if it's anything longer until we have to come down to pit road, that 1 lap could be significant and could end up bagging Henry what will be his first ever IORA Cup Series win. Still something he's been waiting for in more than 3 full seasons of competition. Mike Mitchum didn't have to wait. He won last week and is already looking to do it again. Mike Mitchum, Yahir Rodriguez, first and second rookies this season, and it looks like now with the new drivers up and in front of the field, we'll see what happens when the veterans have to deal with them up close. Front row going to be drivers who have not had to manage a restart at this circuit ever before with this league. Now, it's not really different from league to league anyhow, but you gotta wonder, what can the number 38 do? Maybe here for a chance to exceed and get away quick. He so far hasn't seemed to have anything remarkable when it comes to his restart pace, but he's also around drivers who have not been reliably leading all throughout the campaign. That, of course, goes to Daniel Mosteller, River Page, and all those who were not able to get through that incident. As a matter of fact, they were the causes. So, one lap to green this time by is going to see Mike Mitchum down to the inside. He'll bring with him Vincent Guecci. Then up top, you're going to have Yahir Rodriguez. And then alongside Rodriguez, it's going to be the number 99 of Chase Schaefer coming through as well. Let's see now what the high side's got in store. Schaefer is an interesting one to watch out for. He was able to avoid that wreck and effectively push Mike Mitchum through at full speed, and both got away. Schaefer had that early contact with Jim Thurston, was able to recover strong, and now maybe has a chance to get up to the race lead overall here after waiting for about an hour or so. Of course, practice, qualifying, and the early laps. It almost looked like he'd be done for. Now it's time to go at it again. Outside line going to be filled with drivers who just got back on the lead lap here. Jim Thurston, looks like with them, Daniel Mosteller, River Page, and Sean Rowe all having to go down for some damage repair. Rowe is off the track though, and it looks like he might be the first retiree of the day. Currently 2 laps down, it looks like he went down and in for extensive repairs. Time to go back at it once again. Schaefer going to be fourth, and Mike Mitchum, the rookie with a win, he's already up to the top spot again. Let's see what he can do for our second restart of the day. Green flag's out. Number 38 can get a significantly better jump there than Rodriguez. Yahir is going to get butchered on that start, and with the number 38 comes Vincent Guecci. Chase Schaefer now going to be getting through as lying low Beaver Serrano falls down like a rock. So Beaver now going to find himself all the way down to position number 8, had himself up inside the top 5, and now a litany of drivers are getting right by him. Here comes Nathan Palawato, with them Jason Semedo and number 93 of Aiden Walker. You'll see all the pink paint schemes up to the top side of the track. 37 laps in, and now Vincent Guecci running with Yahir Rodriguez just got by the rookie in the number 16, and it's time for Chase Schaefer to get up inside the podium. First time we've seen the 99 up here all night long. And now it's going to be Schaefer with Vincent Guecci up and in front, while Mike Mitchum still has total control. Now drivers are getting into the rhythm once again, and we're getting closer to the first half here. Page loose, getting away from Jason Semedo. Braxton Whitaker even closer to Semedo. I cannot believe he got away. And that came down to maybe a couple of feet. Nevertheless, the number 51 still got away. We got to take a look on board now and figure out how did he do it with such little time to react. Take a look once again for the onboard of Braxton Whitaker. Perfect timing on the brakes. Scraped the wall just a bit, but overall getting away from the incident as if it didn't happen. Wonderful maneuver right on the outside, and for Braxton Whitaker, perfect place, perfect time. He finds himself currently in the 13th position. So he saves himself there with just a slight maneuver away from the chaos. As it stands, the driver of the number 99, Chase Schaefer, he's going to be in second. Mike Mitchum is going to be the man that leads the way. Tentatively speaking anyhow, let's see what's up next. 40 laps 10 out of 100. Take a ride on board now with Mike Mitchum off the back end. You'll see the field behind him still largely single file. Chase Schaefer staying in touch, as does now the number 88 of Vincent Guecci. Top three have gotten away, and nobody else seems to have even similar pace. The advantage right now for all the drivers that we've seen at the front of the field, well, it comes in large part down to track position. It looks like the restarts have been a determining factor so far for that success. However, overall initial grid position hasn't really meant all too much. If you look at it in the grand scheme of things, 11th up to 3rd right now, it's Vincent Guecci. 20th up to 6th, that's Ryan Billy. And then you got Aiden Walker, 10th to 7th, 19th to 9th. Well, we mentioned eventually he'd have to find his way up here to call this race a success. That he has. It's going to be Alexander Balderas now in position number 9. Up now 10 positions on the day. The double-digit number, of course, something that Alexander Balderas has done time and time again. Now he's got to seal the deal on it, but Daniel Mosteller might quickly take that accolade back. P10 right now for Mosteller. Alexander Balderas is going to be just ahead. Henry Kaloff has fallen back to 11th here, and Braxton Whitaker is running solidly in the 12th spot, in large part just due to getting away from that tricky incident. Number 66 of Beaver Serrano, well, he's getting there too. The drivers who have been able to avoid the trouble tonight, however, few times we've had trouble anyway, will be those that succeed. Even if they don't have the best raw pace, the leaders have caused the most violent wrecks tonight. Specifically, of course, Daniel Mosteller, River Page, Demos and Page alike are still recovering. In 8th place right now for River. Well, it's that number 24 team still trying to get on the back of the second groove. Leading pack, of course, got away. That's only 3 drivers. Chase Schaefer, Vincent Guecci keeping each other lockstep. When we talk about the last 4 laps compared to leader Mike Mitchum, Guecci has only been losing time. However, last 2 laps, he's lost about a 10th and a half. Last 4, he's lost 2 tenths overall. Mike Mitchum right now, whether or not he's in cruise control or if he's pushing as hard as possible, he is getting away. And it looks like the difference is clear between Mitchum and those further on back. Mike can just continuously put lap in, lap out at the highest caliber. No other driver seems to have that capability. Up high, there goes River Page once again. River now going to be far out of that grouping. He's in 8th and alone and might be swept up by Alexander Balderas. The 87 of Daniel Mosteller coming through, and all the well, here comes Henry Kaloff. With River Page making one minor misstep like that, shooting up the track, it could be a sign of things to come. Tire wear is not reversible at a track like Charlotte, and when we talk about track condition, well, we mentioned the track temp to start tonight was 95. It has gotten up higher to 99 degrees, and in large part that comes down to drivers laying down that rubber, so maybe you'll see a little bit more of that warmth come into play. Relative humidity, it's slightly increasing now, but it's only 24.2%. Shouldn't be the most important factor to keep out on, but we might see triple-digit track temperature before the night is done. Halfway in, an increase of some 4 degrees, and even with the sun not fully shining here, there's still a difference. Mostly cloudy, track temp is almost triple digits. Could you imagine what happens here if the sun comes beaming down? Well, I don't know if these drivers would like to imagine it. Aiden Walker coming right off the wall in the back straightaway. Nathan Palawada going to be with them in the number 78. And now Palawada looking to get back inside the top 5, a spot he's been in a time before. And maybe now a chance for 2 consecutive top 5 finishes, as he's been able to trail, for the last few laps anyway, Walker in the 93. Top 3 drivers are now not even going to be a bundle. Both Chase Schaefer and Vincent Guecci have almost dropped off the back of Mitchum, and it's clear now Mike Mitchum running at his own pace. 49 laps in out of 100. How's about we take a lap on board with Mike Mitchum with telemetry and see what's going on? And as we now take a look for a second lap here, fourth gear, no changing. It looks like it'll be pedal to the metal until hitting the brakes through turns 1 and 2, although gently. Don't want to wear out the brakes and apply any more heat to the tire. Speeds as low as 150, as high as about 185 at the quickest. Now, corner speed meaning an awful lot here in Charlotte. It isn't necessarily a natural momentum track, but you certainly need momentum to carry good speed down the straightaway, especially into turn 4. Banking in turns 3 and 4 is different than that of turns 1 and 2. You could say it's a little bit more forgiving. There's a little bit more room to enter in these opening 2 turns, whereas out of turns 3 and 4, you just do not have the room to make your way back out. 52 laps in out of 100, and we're coming to now 49 laps to go. Mike Mitchum here still running all on his own, but Chase Schaefer might be gaining. He cut away now from Vincent Guecci, and the gap between he and Mike Mitchum again is now going to be only 0.5 seconds. Here comes Chase Schaefer. Perhaps now the 99's got a chance to back up the title from last year and take it away from the rookie, who has all of a sudden become one of the most dominant men in this field. It's an interesting story to watch the rise of Mike Mitchum. We've known of him for a long while. He is a prominent figure in virtual motorsport and still up and coming. At 15 years of age, Mitchum making a pretty successful run, although not making it on the contender competition this year. Mitchum made his mark in the Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, was in the second split as early as Daytona, and found himself top split racing for a portion of the opening round. Now, of course, focusing his efforts on continued improvement, Mike Mitchum is one of the brightest stars in this field, and I think being here in the IORA Cup Series, he has met his match. He hasn't been the dominant driver necessarily, but he has shown that he has the racecraft to stay up in situations where it's necessary to cruise up in front and come in clutch when needed as well. Now, of course, the lessons he's got to learn from this point onward are those that the veterans do not have perhaps the raw speed he has. They have the experience to get back into position. These are race lengths, distances, and times we've seen previously before for months and years. Those with advantage, those with the experience, will continue to prevail no matter what. You cannot imagine here that Chase Schaefer hasn't been here before. The facts will tell you, Schaefer, of all else, knows these mile-and-a-halves cold. His best victories, his closest victories, his most exciting victories, all at an intermediate circuit. It all started, of course, when you think about Season 3 and the battle between Mason Moriarty and Chase Schaefer. That was one of the last races that Moriarty had on the track, and he was bested by only some 2/1000ths of a second. Since that point, Chase Schaefer has been able to win at Atlanta multiple times over, and now with 45 laps to go, he'd like to fully add the Queen City to his list of victory and, of course, the tracks he's conquered. Side by side, advantage now going to be Chase Schaefer. 44 laps to go this time through, and it looks like Chase now going to have a slight edge on the inside. Maybe Mike Mitchum going to be lying back to give him a shot. We'll see whether or not this is strategic or if it's intentional, because at this rate, the number 99 machine is Schaefer. He's got himself in a position where Mike Mitchum, well, he's right there with. Even though it looks like Schaefer might have slightly quicker position, when it comes to the inside cut distance, Mike Mitchum has been experienced enough to hold on for the first 20-plus laps of the stint. Nevertheless, Mitchum will get past. He'll have to let go this time by 43 to go. Chase Schaefer advantageous. Take a look further back. You got Braxton Whitaker. He's going to now be alone. He's going to be in position number 16. You got left back now, but the number triple digit threat 006, the 91 on your screen, and Carter on his way right now, also going to be lonely. Majority of the field now going to be cut up into very tiny slivers of what they once were. Daniel Mosteller still going to be with Nathan Palawada and River Page. Now you'll see number 23 coming coming through. That's Ryan Billion, and it looks like the Toyota Supra rookie today has done a great job, and what a performance it's been. We haven't seen the 23 on FTN since his days in SNT Season 4 of its Truck Series, and that was north of a year and a half ago. Now Ryan returns, and so far, competent beginning to his IORA career. Maybe a chance to get a top 5 here if, of course, he can get up to the likes of Aiden Walker and Yahir Rodriguez, who both of which have been able to run away from the number 23 right on behind. Speaking of runaway, now Chase Schaefer putting up 0.3 of a second over the number 38 of Mike Mitchum with 41 laps to go, coming to only 40 remaining. It'll be Chase Schaefer up at the front of the field with Mike Mitchum in second and Vincent Guecci then in third. Rookies are going to be in position 2, 4, 6, then on back, it's all the veterans. So 3 rookies, and Yahir will be the second of which. Aiden Walker in 5th, Ryan Billy in 6th and 3rd of the rookies. Then you have Daniel Mosteller, who is in 7th. 8th place to be River Page, and Nathan Palawada will be in 9th. P10 to round it all out will currently be Alexander Balderas, although Beaver Solano will give him some trouble. And so with 40 laps to go, we'd like to thank our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations for bringing tonight's coverage to you with the world's leading online motorsport platform. Visit iRacing.com to join the fun. 16 years and counting with the world's premier online sim racing platform, and we'd love to have you join live on FTN Broadcasting as well. We'll return right after the following messages from our friends at iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
37 laps remaining. Mike Mitchum, who was once dominant in this stint, has given way, and he's let Chase Schaefer free to roam. He's up a second now on the rest of the pack, and Vincent Guecci might be coming up now on the 38. Vinny looking real good, and he's bringing his rookie friend in Yahir Rodriguez right there with. Rodriguez has been able to turn a solid start into a very impressive one. This is Yahir's best run by far in his career to this point, and he might be able to make a case for a podium. Drop it to the inside. Here comes the number 16. Yahir Rodriguez looking low for 3rd. He's got himself right to the inside of the circuit, and with him will come the number 88, although now it'll be the 88 behind rather than being the man leading the 2-car charge. Up and advantageous is still Mike Mitchum, but that might change here. He's going to have to look out in the rearview mirror and realize he's got double trouble, and both drivers, while they might battle each other, their main goal is to get by the number 38 team. Now all of a sudden might not have the premier speed. Rodriguez taking it low to the inside will give enough room here for Mike Mitchum to get through. 88, there's Vincent Guecci also coming by. It looks like now Vinny's going to have himself a little bit more of a surveillance role. He won't be immediately attacking. He's going to let Yahir Rodriguez maybe burn up his stuff and go for that instead. Mike Mitchum is going to be running a groove and a half higher compared to those who he's battling against, and you can see Rodriguez is significantly quicker coming out of turns 3 and 4 with that approach of the traditional entry and exit. But 1 and 2 looks to be a little bit closer. Take a watch here. And now you'll see it looks like it's even closer for Yahir Rodriguez. Inside groove coming down the back straightaway, looking better than ever. And as such, the number 16 is going for 3rd. And that he will. Rookies up, battling for the podium. And looks like for the first time all night long, Rodriguez with the advantage over Mike Mitchum. Aiden Walker now coming up with Vincent Guecci. And Walker already got by the number 93. Yahir Rodriguez is up next. 33 laps to go. Quick move there for the number 16, and that's going to bring Rodriguez up on top. Sliding quickly. There goes Mike Mitchum. Aiden Walker is going to be behind, and he's there now in 4th. Daniel Mosteller is P6, and he's been able to recover significantly better than that of River Page. River is now in 10th. He's fallen back to the likes of Beaver Serrano and Nathan Palawada. Demos is now just outside the confines of a top 5. Pit road, mind you, is still necessary, and the window has just opened. Most drivers are now going to consider coming in within the next 10 laps, 15 at the very most, and you'll see with Yahir Rodriguez up to 2nd, it's a different looking front of the field. 69 laps in, 32 laps to go. Nice run here for Aiden Walker, but we didn't expect to see him battling against Mike Mitchum anytime soon. Well, that's changed, because now front and center the battle is the 93 and the number 38, and it looks like the advantage, once again, it's a first. Aiden Walker, he's got the quicker pace. Mike Mitchum, though, going to fend him off. And you can see a little bit of beating and banging back and forth there, side by side. The 93 machine still cutting a little bit lower. Advantageous Mike Mitchum, but looks like that will be all for naught, as the inside groove now continues to put power down to 3 and 4. Turns 1 and 2 will be make or break here. Can he use those corners proper? Well, it looks like he won't even need to worry about that. Big move there. That will bring Aiden Walker up into 3rd and Mike Mitchum 4th. 30 laps to go. Most drivers have not come in for what will be their second and final pit stop on the day. Take a look at the pit stop count overall, and you'll see when drivers have come in. Nathan Palawada right now, one of the only drivers with 2 pit stops recorded. Rest of the field, one and only about 35 laps ago. With 30 laps to go now, the second pit stop is inevitable, and we'll take a look at the stint time to let you know how long drivers have been out and how long they'll go until they come to pit road. It looks like a few drivers are now going to be making the move. You'll see Nathan Palawada dropping a little bit further back in position, and the call for the number 78 of Palawada is not going to be a pit stop, but he's in big trouble. He's going to be loose and slow. Falls down the order down to 15th. Take a look back now for Nathan Palawada, an inexplicable incident, and we'll check on the number 78 right now and see perhaps if we can find out what caused that incident as Palawada slides. Ryan Billy comes into pit road. It looks like maybe the 23 taking the 78 with them, and so Palawada was able to get away from it, although he's going to lose a significant proportion of his pre-existing track position. Bad news for Nathan Palawada, but a great save nonetheless, and unfortunately getting involved there with a rookie. Chase Schaefer going to be leading with Yahir Rodriguez in 2nd. And 3rd place is still going to be Aiden Walker. It looks like Mike Mitchum is one of the many who is still deciding to stay out. Perhaps the undercut, though, might be the way to go for Mike Mitchum. And as soon as we say that, well, it looks like he will go for it. Mike Mitchum coming down and in after a run of just 40 laps here as he goes on to his 41st down and under on pit road. Mike Mitchum has decided to beat the competition in 41 lap stint, and we do not expect anyone to have the capability to go up until 50. So this is the time. Next 5 or 10 laps, everyone comes in. This time by not a guarantee. So Yahir Rodriguez stays out. Aiden Walker is going to be right there with Vincent Guecci, Daniel Mosteller, all of which are still going to decide to hold it down. And the top 10 going to look a little bit different as a result. That will lift once again Alexander Balderas inside of it. Henry Kaloff there as well. Number 63 of Kaloff right now, when you can see him getting up to the number 23, but it looks like he's almost falling in reverse. New tires for Vincent Guecci will pull the 88 up on the way. 26 laps to go, coming down next to only 25. It's going to be a 3/4 mark that we've hit with only 2 yellow flags to this point. Another driver going to come down, and in there it looked to be this time by, well, River Page is going to stay out, and nevertheless the number 24 goes up top. Meanwhile, pit road is going to include the 006. There comes Carter, and with them, Michael Deitch might be one of the few that decide to stay out in the back part of the field. Vincent Guecci, Mike Mitchum, notable entries down low as of late, and in addition to them, it looks like Brendan Dugan has decided to head inside as well. And as Dugan does so, the 55 gets on the way. Andres Varas, there comes the number 82. Alexander Balderas as well. pit road is in full swing now, and the 95, well, he's going to be one of the many that's already decided to drop through. Still, though, more than half the field has decided not to come in yet, and it's interesting to see them try to hold on as long as they can. 44 laps and maybe still counting. Chase Schaefer will come across for his 45th lap of the stint with 23 laps to go. We'd once again like to thank TrackCams22.com for providing the camera angles for tonight's race. Visit TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com for additional information about iRacing's leading sim racing platform, of course, for cameras. They do, of course, not only for broadcast, but personal ventures and commercial ventures alike. Visit TrackCams22.com. The best cameras are chosen by the best broadcaster. And it is about time that we go live and get loud here from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, cranking it up with 22 laps to go. It looks like Mike Mitchum is the man who decides the undercut is the way to go. Drivers are still coming out of pit road, and Chase Schaefer in a tight spot here trying to get up to the likes of Aiden Walker and Vincent Guecci. Currently, Chase Schaefer going to find himself second. Of course, if he can get up behind the likes of Walker and Vincent Guecci, but he's 7 seconds behind right now Mike Mitchum. Mike can have a significant advantage after deciding to go for that undercut strategy. It looks like that was indeed the way to go for the number 38 team. Right now he's got a big advantage, and it looks like in the last 4 laps, well, we can tell how close Vincent Guecci's been able to get. Looking at driver telemetry over the past 4, Vincent Guecci has been able to cut that gap, of course, by 6 seconds overall, but in the past 3 laps, you can see it's actually gone up 10th after 10th after 10th. So for Vincent Guecci, it looks like he's actually gained some 0.4 of a second. He's gotten himself still a little bit further away on this time around. 3.17 seconds. It looks like now Mike Mitchum doesn't have to worry all too much about what's going on for the number 88. Take a look further back, though, and you'll have Chase Schaefer, the man on the move. He's been able to cut down that gap consistently over the past 4 laps. He's cutting it down by a second each and every time. As it stands, it looks like still good to make some big moves here. Chase Schaefer up on the way. A lot of fan support right now for the 006. Like to thank J.G. Carter, Gary Jackson also coming around, and right now the 006 in 13th position on the lead lap, making gains on that starting spot, which for the number 006 crew was 23rd. Up 10 spots on the day and doing a real good job here, just maintaining position and avoiding the chaos. We'll see, of course, whether or not Carter can hang on here and come away with another top 15 finish. Looks like for the time being, though, in good standing to do just that. 14 laps to go, coming down to 13 up next. All eyes are once again on the front of the field as Chase Schaefer continues to try to take down a few seconds. He's going to get right by Chase Schaefer, of course, goes Vincent Guecci. Now, gap is within 3 for the race leader and second place. First and second spots separate by only 3 seconds here. Let's see what Chase Schaefer can do to gun him down. It's all about whether or not Schaefer now can get up to Mike Mitchum. This is it. Clutch time, do or die for the 99. Mike Mitchum is advantageous. And this is where we really find out whether or not that track position on the undercut is the way to go. 12 laps to go. Chase Schaefer only would have to gain about 1/10 of a second per lap to comfortably make a pass. And right now he's going at about 3 times that rate each and every lap around. So for Mike Mitchum, he's going to have to worry. Unfortunately for his race, there's no choice right now but to face the fact that he will have to defend. It's going to be, in effect, mandatory. Unless, of course, he doesn't want to keep the position, which to each their own. But for the time being, I really do not see Mike Mitchum as the type of guy to bow down even when new tires are coming at him. We saw last week in Kansas in that green-white checkered, he did not have the overall advantage with respect to pace. Nevertheless, he was able to come through and get the victory. Green-white checkered was something, of course, that isn't predictable, and he had to deal with it for the very first time, and he was able to exceed given the circumstances. 10 laps to go. This time by, gap is now 0.7 of a second, and it continues to diminish, and it looks like now the field is waiting to see, will Chase Schaefer come out on top? Will Mike Mitchum prevail? The advantage when it comes to pace, so far, it has been all the 99 of Chase Schaefer. He has been able to cut down now more than 7 seconds, and the final countdown is on. Is it going to be Mike Mitchum with a chance to keep it going, or does Chase Schaefer make it look easy? Now it's time to find out. Single digits, 9 laps to go. Chase Schaefer looks low once, and it looks like Mike Mitchum cannot give him any proper rebuttal. Sliding through on the inside, and it looks like already clear. Chase Schaefer to the race lead. Mike Mitchum almost up in the wall, and he'll get even more loose. Now already Chase Schaefer putting a 1/4 second on your former race leader. The 99 is back up in front. Mike Mitchum will see if he has anything really left in the tank, but as you can see clear as day, he's gonna fall back fast. Already losing a 1/2 second in just 1 lap. Bad news here for Mike Mitchum, and a great race that he's run so far, but it looks like unless there's any intervention, the number 38 machine is hopeless. He's going to hang on maybe for a top 3 finish. Aiden Walker doesn't seem to be quick enough to really knock him down a peg or 2. But right now, Mike Mitchum, well, his chances to go for 2 consecutive wins might be just a flash in the pan. A 100-lap-long flash, mind you. but now it looks like, well, it will not come to be. Checkered flag is going to be ahead of us now with only 7 laps to go. Let's take a look at a few other battles on the circuit here. Yahir Rodriguez maybe coming up on Vincent Guecci as well. Guecci has been doing a pretty good job of getting away from the number 16, but Rodriguez, notably in the past few laps, especially in that last stint, he has long run pace, and if he just gets enough time to show it, well, he will, of course, burn down the bridges between he and another driver and make a pass. Now, he doesn't seem to be necessarily an aggressive driver per se, but for Rodriguez's sake, I think he's going to have to bide his time here for maybe 2 or 3 more laps and then go all out. Is it going to be attrition based at this rate? Highly unlikely. Now, it's all you've got or nothing. Side by side, it might be between the 88 and 16 to determine the position, and it looks like it will come down to close racing. Door to door in due time if the number 16 can get there. Yahir Rodriguez close, but just not enough yet. 6 laps to go. We're going to be coming down to only 5. Checkered flag is going to be just ahead of us here, and it's going to be 5 laps to go. Rodriguez and Vincent Guecci might be the final major battle for position. You'll see Jim Thurston is going to be a lapper tonight. He finds himself 7 laps down in 19th. Really hasn't been able to make all too much of the day. And as it stands, it looks like here comes the number 16 again, dropping down low. He's got himself now side by side with Guecci, and through 3 and 4, we'll see if he has the advantage. Lunging down to the inside once again. Looks like Rodriguez and his way of moving through drivers has been forever not only, of course, relevant, but important to his driving style, and he uses it once again to take advantage. 4 laps to go. Then, of course, you've got Chase Schaefer, Mike Mitchum, and Aiden Walker. Notably right now for Mitchum and Walker, they're going to be toe-to-toe and at each other's throats. Aiden Walker now going to be on the bottom, Mitchum up top. Brief contact, did not look to be physical contact, but more net code. Mitchum going to be setting himself up the track regardless, and now Walker's not going to give in. He might have been sent down just a little bit further, but I don't think Walker's going to quit here. This is a move for second. And it looks like right now for Walker, it will stick. Mike Mitchum going to be fading back, and it looks like while his podium still might be secure, he will no longer have second place, lest he has enough running through the final 2.5 laps to get it back. Two laps to go for Chase Schaefer. He's gotten further ahead than anyone else on the track, and it looks like now he's going to have himself completely out of sight. While the rest of the field continues to battle, the number 99 has proven time and time again that he is the driver, above all else, with the best control of a race like this. Carter going to go down to the inside, and he will keep himself straight, comes up the track, almost gets in the Chase Schaefer. We stay green. The 006 almost to get himself in a world of trouble there, but luckily we will keep it together. 1 lap to go. White flags out for here. Chase Schaefer and company. Well, they visited Charlotte many times before, and Chase Schaefer has been one of the strongest intermediate drivers in this league's history. Tonight, he proves it once again. Maybe not the flashiest race by Schaefer standards, but flashiness over function doesn't get you victories. Tonight, Schaefer pulled into his own, got himself that second half race lead, and had to combat a 7-second deficit in the final 20 laps to get to this point. Drifting out of turn 4 and drifting down the line, Chase Schaefer wins in Charlotte. Collecting a total tonight of 34 laps led, he pulled it together in the final third and made the magic happen. Aiden Walker second, Mike Mitchum third, Yahir Rodriguez in P4. Rest of your race results go as follows. You'll have just after Rodriguez, 5th in Vincent Guecci, 6th place in River Page, and 7th in Jacob Wilkerson, with 8th place Brendan Dugan, 9th Alexander Balderas, and Beaver Serrano, P20. Looks like, of course, 10th for Serrano after starting in the top 20. Then you have 11th place. Immediately then on back, that will be Daniel Mosteller. 12th in Henry Kaloff. Nathan Palawada 13th. Jacques Carter in 14th. Jason Cimento 15th. Michael Deitch 16th. Andres Varas P17. 18th is Braxton Whitaker. Jimmy Thurston's 19th with Hunter Bogdan P20. Then you have Ryan Billy, Sean Rowe, and Josh Camnion. Track is empty, and now it's time for Schaefer to celebrate. Schaefer will blow the motor, and it looks like there's no more celebrating for the 99 car. Nevertheless, we expected to find Chase back to victory lane sometime soon, and well, tonight he did just that. Welcome back, Chase Schaefer. Checkered flag is his, and we'll speak to all of your top 4 drivers in just a few moments here live in the IORA Cup Series. It's the Queen City 150, and coming up next to speak with us, your race winner, the number 99 of Chase Schaefer. 34 laps led. We referred to him as one of the kings of intermediate racing in this league, and tonight proved us that very little has changed. Checkered flag is yours. Chase Schaefer working the strategy in a green flag run to perfection to come back to victory, even having to claw back through 7+ seconds. The Ute, of course, used tires didn't work out. The new rubber got you to victory lane.
Yeah, that was a very interesting race. I was not expecting it to go that well, but I just figured it out, and from there it was history. I had overcoming the adversity of getting in the gym early on, and then I was just clawing through the field. If we didn't have that caution, I was gonna end up getting in the lead. But yeah, I stayed out as long as I could because I knew I was gonna have those fresh tires, and I knew if I trapped some people a lap down, I would still be set. Like I had no doubt tonight.
And you mentioned that early contact, first and foremost, you and Thurston almost hooking up the wall. It would have been a race changer for both of you, and you were able to avoid getting in the wall significantly and even had pace after that. Was there any major damage you had to take care of?
No, nothing. I'm surprised I got no damage. I wasn't gonna flat out wreck him, but I kind of tossed it on the inside just to annoy him and race him a little bit. But yeah, no, that didn't make me happy. I didn't appreciate getting blocked up and down the quad oval on like lap 3. I wasn't dealing with that tonight. I was not in the mood. So, but yeah, that was it was a good race.
And a great race. It turned out to be you and Mike Mitchum, the final battle there, and it looks like just a few laps of newer rubber made all the difference. How was it for you fighting back on Mitchum?
Oh, I mean, I knew I was gonna catch him. I was looking at it, and I had it. I was getting seconds per lap. I literally passed him in one corner. So I was confident either way because then even if a caution came out, I had confidence in my speed. But yeah, really good race tonight. I'm glad it was nice and clean for the most part. But yeah.
And with that being said, back to victory lane here. Checkered flag is yours, Chase, and we were expecting to see you, of course, return to victory lane at one of these 1.5-mile circuits. Now, up next on the calendar, the month of October is going to be exciting because we've got a whole variety. Up next, we're going to go big. It'll be the 2-mile circuit, Michigan. It's a home race for you. Maybe a chance to go for 2 consecutive.
Yeah, we'll see if we can keep the streak of figuring out this new Xfinity tire model and keeping the good finishes up. And Michigan, I've heard, is pretty slippery, so that might go into my favor. I like it kind of when it's a little bit loose, a little bit more tire savvy. So we got that. Then we got Homestead right after it. I'm excited.
And reason to be excited, a massive performance tonight, collecting the checkered flag here in Charlotte. Chase Schaefer, any last shout-outs you'd like to give?
Follow at Monster Designs on Twitter and Instagram. That's all I got. Thank you.
There we go. Chase Schaefer, P1 on the day here in the Queen City 150. Thank you for stopping by.
Yep, thank you.
And Schaefer going to be on the move here. Let's get on to your second place finisher, Aiden Walker, who made up major position at the very end. And here's the battle for second, replaying again on your screen. Checkered flag eluded him tonight, but Aiden Walker, once again, a very strong run. Position 2 on the day, your best finish so far this season.
Yeah, I'm happy I didn't finish 4th or 5th or I think 6th. That's a good thing. Yeah, overall, the race, just the setup, I was at the start expecting it to build loose, because that's how Kansas was, and that's how I was expecting this Xfinity car to be. But in classic Xfinity car fashion on iRacing. Built tight, not even really tight. It built like a tight loose where right in the center you're pushing, and you can even let the car rotate and get a straight exit, and it's just drifting off the corner and things. So that was a little bit frustrating once we found that. Well, all the drivers figured it out pretty much at the same time. We were all kind of sad because we like the really loose cars and things. So.
And you mentioned how the car drove tonight. Well, it looks like you started in 10th, maybe not the best qualifying speed. How did the race pace suit you?
Well, at the start, it was okay, and then that entire wreck happened, and then I wanted to make my way up through the field as quick as possible, just so I wouldn't be stuck with the slower people and possibly get involved in another wreck. Well, yes, the first wreck I got involved with cars in front that were 1-2 at the time. I just know how it usually goes. Usually mid-pack tries pushing a lot harder, which, yes, I was in mid-pack at that point and was also pushing harder, but I'm trying to get back up to where I was, and usually they're kind of just fighting for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, around that area. So just trying to get ahead of that little pack, just so I can just calm back down, just manage my tires, and, well, got back to where I needed to be.
Well, it looks like you got there in good time. Nevertheless, Aiden Walker jumping up big tonight from 10th to 2nd. Maybe Michigan high-speed action is going to help you out and maybe going that one extra step further. You're looking for victory, and it's been several seasons since we've seen you there. Perhaps a chance at Michigan?
Maybe. I mean, I've won a B-Fix there, but that was with the old model. I expect it to probably be either super loose or it's going to be like a mix of, like tonight, where it was kind of just the mix of loose and tight, but I think usually if Michigan leans more on the tight side. So hopefully we can get a good run there again. I mean, I think this is the first time I've ran an IORA race actually at Michigan, so hopefully it goes good.
Maybe a chance for Michigan to, of course, do us well. You're right, it's been a long while since we've seen any of the 2-milers back in Iora, and Michigan, not all too common. But a familiar place for you, Aiden. 2nd place in Charlotte. Any last messages you'd like to give?
I guess, gotta shout out my sponsors, Lively's Custom Diecast on the car today, Coggle Motor Company, Blue Line, Tennessee. I guess I'll shout out, SKS Motorsports on Twitter. Follow them, please. Hopefully Schulte doesn't do anything. Yeah, that's all I got to shout out. Well, actually, wait, one more. Subscribe to the FTN Broadcasting channel. Very great broadcast.
Well, there we go. Thank you, Aiden Walker. Great performance to you tonight. Of course, 2nd place here from Charlotte. Thank you once more for stopping by.
Thank you.
Aiden Walker on the way. Mike Mitchum 3rd tonight. And would you believe it? For Mike Mitchum, this is his career worst finish? Well, you might remember last week we didn't speak to Mike Mitchum. Let's see if he's available tonight. Once again, don't see him just yet. Maybe a chance we can get a word with your race winner once more. We took a little bit of time to get to Mike Mitchum, rather. 3rd place for Mitchum. He started in 2nd, was as high as 1st, and finished in that 3rd spot. However, that's not to say he didn't go up and down the ladder. He was as low as 17th as the night went on, and as you can see, unfortunately, at the tail end of the night, he continued to fall further down. Nevertheless, a strong performance and another podium to open up the rookie's IORA career. We're going to stand by for just a few moments here and see if Mike Mitchum is available, and if not, we'll move on to your final post-race coverage. With that being said, let's get a final message in from our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations as we figure out where exactly that number 38 is.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Unfortunately, Mike Mitchum will not be available for comment tonight. He finishes in third and once again comes away with his second consecutive podium finish in his young IORA Cup Series career. Nevertheless, a great event here in the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Queen City 150 is the beginning of our night and perhaps the appetizer for a right-turning race. Up next in the Highline Racing League, 1 hour of exciting racing begins live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, so if you were entertained, we're just getting started. Highline Racing League goes road course racing for the first and only time in season 18 at 9:30 p.m. You've been watching coverage of the IORA Cup Series, race number 6 in season 6 here from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of tonight's action. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. And check out the QR code on your screen, scan it, and you can find yourself as a member of the FTN broadcasting community. Free and open access to all of our broadcasted leagues from Monday to Sunday and everywhere in between. No additional charges. Thank you for tuning in live on FTN for the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. We hope you have a fantastic night.